That was Mr. Niall Nickel from the Social Media Business Hour from Life Improvement Radio at the CES Computer Electronic Show in Las Vegas. And without further ado, I'm bringing on two of the roughest and toughest, I'll say, SOBs. I won't say the word. SOB could mean anything. I can't think of it right now, but Todd
Supporters
Vandenberg,
of broccoli.
Lee Vowell, We Make Up.
I'm here. Thank you.
The Happy Hour Network, Baseball, Beer, and Barbecue, The Tennis Scene, The Seahawks Show, Nikki X, all things regarding Todd and Lee. Guys, just glad for you to be here on Late Night Parents. Thanks for coming. Thanks for stopping by.
Oh, yeah.
It is a pleasure.
I love to listen to the show anytime. I mean, you seriously have a great show, honestly. And, I'm not saying that because I'm involved with Happy Hour Network, but I'll tune in just because, I just learned something from the last guest you had on. You always have knowledgeable guests on, and unfortunately tonight you finished with Todd and myself to bring the show down, but everybody else is great.
Lee, I want to thank you for the kind words. The check is in the mail. So once again, you get a check for 99 cents. But I got to tell you guys, there's nothing better. Yes, this is Baseball, Beer, and Barbecue meets Late Night Parents, but I enjoy doing our show on Saturday and happy to discuss what happened a few hours ago. With Ken Griffey and the pizza man himself, Mikey Piazza, going into our Baseball Hall of Fame. I mean, it's going to be a great show on Saturday. Let's get your comments, early comments on, Griffey. What more can be said about Griffey, but the pizza man. What's your thoughts on those two gentlemen going in?
I'll jump in first. My only thought on Ken Griffey Jr. is, who are the three dumbasses who don't think he's a Hall of Famer? That is mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling. I mean, I'm sorry. Don't write about baseball. Don't read about baseball. Don't watch baseball because you don't know what the game is if you don't think that guy is a Hall of Famer. Seriously, take away their vote. That's beyond stupid. Absolutely beyond stupid.
Yeah, and I'll jump on board with that as well. Yeah, David Schoenfeld actually had a column, and he said the only reason he wasn't saying it was okay, but he was saying the only reason he could think that maybe three people left Griffey off the ballot, and of course he's the highest vote getter ever at 99.3. We still don't have a 100% person getting in, but he was saying the only argument was maybe these three people were knowing he was getting in and actually voted for 10, including three people who may not normally get votes. He wasn't saying that was the case. He doesn't know, but at least he was saying, for the love of God, let that be their argument, because otherwise there's absolutely no reason for Griffey not to get 100% of the vote, just like lots of other people should have gotten 100%, but he didn't. And Piazza got 83, finally getting in, and he'll go in as a Met, but, I love the Dodgers, and I always think of him as a great Dodgers, so, I'm extremely happy he got in. By the way, Todd and I finished with less than one vote, so we will not be on the ballot again next year.
That was a dual ballot, so. Are you surprised that he got 83%? That he had that big of a jump?
Not at this point, I'm not. I expected him to get in and everything. Of course, we all saw the voting. Everything was going in that he was going to be on this year. 83 is not enough, I don't think, but I wasn't surprised he made 83 this year.
Yeah, I agree. He should have been in before. 83 is not enough, but I'm surprised. I'm kind of surprised that enough people finally realized, this was stupid. So,
so what's your thoughts on the guys that are close? Bags, Tim Raines. Are we thinking definitely next year, or definitely within the next? Well, depending on next year, the next 2 years class, the class for the next 2 years, could they possibly squeeze? Possibly squeeze by?
Yeah, I'll take this one, Todd, if that's okay. Bagwell and Raines will most likely get in next year. They're the only two players up to this point, besides Trevor Hoffman, who got 67% of the vote, who have made it that far and have not gotten in. So in their first ballot. And, of course, Bagwell and Raines only has 1 year left, but they were higher vote getters early on. They've changed some of the voting. They got rid of a lot of people who didn't cover baseball anymore, and you have to cover baseball for 10 years, for at least the last 10 years and further than that. So a lot of the voters changed, and maybe that's one reason Piazza got in. And, Mike Mussina, for instance, took a big jump, 18% this year, and that could be because people actually watched him pitch. So I think Bagwell and Raines will get in. I think Hoffman will get in, too, eventually.
Yeah, I'm looking at the people who will be on the ballot for the first time for 2017. That's Pudge, Manram, Vlad the Impaler. So, yeah, that's I'd say their odds are really good because there's not like last year when it's like, oh my God, those are locks for the Hall of Fame, and it makes the ballot really heavy. So I'd say the odds are really good for them. Thankfully, finally.
What are your thoughts on Bonds, Clemens? I won't say McGuire because McGuire, and I think Sosa got 7%, but Bonds and Clemens. Is there any chance, or you think people are starting to warm up to them, or are they looking at their greatness less than the years when they were supposedly tainted? What's your thoughts on that? Todd, you go first. Lee, you follow up.
I mean, they're still a long way away. They're both under 50, correct? They were like in the high 40s.
Correct.
That's a long, long way to go. And everyone who's not voting for them, it's because of the PEDs. So I have a hard time thinking that people are going to change their mind.
Yeah, and they actually, even with the new voters, they didn't make a big jump either way. I think they each jumped 5 or 6%. They're never going to get in at this point. Not in the writers' ballot anyway. They may get a veteran committee.
Yeah, okay. Unless the Hall comes out with a statement and says, okay, forget about PEDs, we don't care. Let's just look strictly on field and not worry how they got there. I think that's the only way. Unless maybe, like you said, Lee, 25 years from now, these guys are, they're rolling out of the, seriously. I mean, they'll be in their 70s or 80s if they're lucky that they get in, unless there's a change. Unless there's a directive that says, don't worry about it.
What are your thoughts on players that have played with multiple? Like, I don't even know the rule. So, what are your thoughts on players that have played with multiple teams? So Piazza, he's definitely going in as a Met, but what about the great years as a Dodger? Do you see? Is it based on the player? Is it based on the team? Is it based on the amount of years they were with the specific team? Do you think those type of rules should be changed?
Well, it's up to the player. They choose what they want to go in as. It's not up to the Hall. For instance, when John Smoltz went in last year, he went in as a Tiger. No, I'm just kidding. But it is up to he was in the Tigers minor league system. But it is up to the player. So if Piazza chooses to go in as a Met, it's his decision, and good for him because he had some great years with the Mets. He could have gone, as far as I'm concerned, a Dodger or a Met. Todd wants him to go in as a Marlin, I'm sure. But yeah, exactly.
Yes. Please.
Oh my goodness. Hey, I know we're going to talk about this on Saturday, but can you give me a quick take on this Manning, HGH, Al Jazeera's, Jeter's name is now coming up? Is this just all hogwash, or, where there's smoke, there's fire?
I'll jump in. You know what I think is funny is I have yet to hear anyone other than just, an aside in an article, but I haven't heard anyone doing any kind of video blog or news conference or anything mention any of the other NFL players that are in this, like Clay Matthews. I mean, there's a lot of people listed, and all you hear, Peyton. It's like, to me, that's rather odd. Don't you think you would look at some of the other things? I doubt it. I mean, I really doubt it with Peyton, and he came out and basically, we've all heard it, and anyone listening to this, I'm sure they've heard he said that it seems that he he is very upset, to put it mildly, about an invasion of his wife's privacy because they were sent to her, and that's her medical issues, and she has nothing to do with him as far as being in the news. And you can tell how incredibly hot he was about it. I've never seen the guy. He was more angry about this than he was about the idiot kicker. So he was a little incensed. He was a little incensed. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him a bit. But it's odd that there's been... Has anyone even talked to Clay Matthews about this and said, hey, what do you think about this? I haven't seen anything about it. Anybody else but Peyton.
Those interviews... sorry if I jump in for 1 second. Those interviews with Clay Matthews, they will surface when he actually makes a tackle again. So I think that's the problem.
So by his performance, he just proved the argument. I like that.
The only thing I was going to say was, could you imagine walking up to Clay Matthews and making that comment and probably walking out alive?
It's a weird source, Al Jazeera. I'm not saying. I think what they're trying to do, and this is just my opinion, but I think they're just trying to make inroads into the American sports scene. Nothing against Al Jazeera. I mean, they're a reputable source, but they don't really have a whole lot going on with American sports, and I think they're trying to make their mark. Bam. And Peyton Manning, again, I kind of a homer because I watched him play in college, but it's hard to believe he ever took HGH. But the problem is he can't really prove he never took it. He's never taken a positive drug test, but it did arrive at his house, so he's kind of in limbo as far as the lawsuit. But there are a couple of baseball players who are suing Al Jazeera already. I think the whole thing's fabricated, from what I can tell. So. Hopefully this will pass over. Hopefully he'll have a good playoff game because I think he's going to start, right?
He better.
Unless he's injured, unless he has a setback in the next 2 weeks. That was the plan, according to Kubiak, that he would start. Why wouldn't he? Well, let's see. 5 turnovers in the first half, put in Peyton. We put up 20 points. You kind of think – I think you can see who the better quarterback is.
That's true. That's true. Oh, my goodness. Well, I got to say this much. I know – Saturday show really more for the next month through the Super Bowl, from the NFL playoffs on down to Super Bowl 50, we are doing baseball, beer, and barbecue. But the NFL version, really psyched about it because I know we're going to have special guests every week. Any thoughts on it? Do we want to say, hey, the Seahawks are definitely? I know Lee roots for the Seahawks. I usually root for them during the playoff time because the Jets are usually out of it by then. But Todd, who are you going with? Who's your team of destiny for this playoff?
I am just excited that Vince Lombardi will be on the show Saturday. That's what I'm excited about. So he'll have incredible insight into the Packers-Redskins game, so I'm looking forward to his commentary on that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd like to say our guest is going to be, of course, we'll talk a little baseball, we'll talk about the Hall of Fame, and the show is at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on the Happy Hour Network. But, we'll talk a little bit baseball, and then we'll really get into the playoff matchups. There are 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. Our guest this Sunday is actually going to be Sharona of NFL Female, Game Over Sports, and then next week, when we get into the divisional rounds, we're going to talk to Antoine Staley. So we have great guests on. I think everybody should tune in and listen to it, if not for us, for the guests, because they're going to be fantastic. But I don't really have a prediction at this point. Obviously, I hope the Seahawks win. They should beat the Vikings because they beat them earlier this year, but it's hard to beat an NFL team twice in one season, especially on the road. I don't want to make a prediction because that would just jinx my team, but hopefully they'll all be good games and not like the college football semifinals.
Now, here's my prediction. I don't want to give away everything, but here's my teaser for Saturday. I predict that Eddie and I will both make really stupid predictions because we do every year. So,
correct.
But the guests will be amazing. So it definitely will be forward to listening. Very, very. Right out the Sharona, right out of the box. That's awesome. And of course, Mr. Fabulous.
I will leave it. I will leave it right there, and we're going to get ready to close this on out. But I will say to you, both of you gentlemen, give us your social media handles, best ways to get in contact with you. No, don't include your mistress. No, don't include the illegitimate, children that we have going across America and abroad. Just your social media handles. Thank you very much.
Lisa's too long, so I'm just going to start with mine. And you can locate my mistress through my media handle, which is the Unreal Todd on the Twitter.
That's awesome. Well, I do have several because I'm part of different shows. But you can find the show at Baseball Beer BBQ, of course, at Happy Hour Net. I'm at Lee Vowell and at Seahawk Show. And then Todd and I have a tennis show starting up in about 10 days, I think, 10 or 11 days, whatever it is.
I believe that.
Tennis scene just before the Australian Open starts. So tune into that on the Happy Hour Network as well.
I don't know why I wasn't invited to the tennis show, but it's okay. I understand. Maybe it's because I don't watch tennis. Maybe that was the reason why I wasn't invited. I get it.
Well,
I know. I will tell everyone the real reason I wasn't invited to the tennis scene on Saturday. Tune in, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, Saturday. And, well, will Al Sharpton show up? I don't know. I don't think so, unless he's getting a check. But, no, guys,
hey, Ted,
as
can
always.
I interrupt you for just a second? Can I interrupt you for just a second? I have a request. If there's any way to end the show or play on the show right after we are off, we have that knee house call, which is Griffey. I think it's the Baseball Beer BBQ outro that we play in the queue.
That'd be beautiful.
Yeah, because, Griffey obviously getting into the Hall of Fame today. It'd be fantastic to hear that little knee house Griffey.
BBB outro, or is it just the BBB outro?
It is. It's the BBB outro.
Okay, you got it. Guys, as always, love you. See you on the show on Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And we're out. Thank you for joining Late Night Parents. Our guests included Mr. Niall Nickel at the CES show talking 4K TV, 4K adoption. We had Mr. Jason Martin and Noam Tomzak from freeconference.com talking about, cost-effective telecom conferencing, all free. Video conferencing, Skype, Google Hangout, no way. You got to go freeconference.com. And, of course, the Unreal Todd and Lee Val joined us to close out the show. And we're going to close it out with our Baseball Beer and Barbecue outro. But big shout-out to Mikey, Piazza, King Griffey. You are the very best. Those three riders that didn't vote for you, King Griffey, they get the gas face. See ya.
The fans hoping to catch a little bit of the old-time religion right here, baby. With Junior stepping up to the plate. Here comes the stretch. And the pitch to Junior on the way. Swing and a fly ball hit to deep right center field. That baby is going to be fly away. The old-time religion lives. Junior does it. A 2-run home run. And we are tied at 3-3.